What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another one of CCA's interview, which is part of our outreach series. It's your girl Lia here. As you know already or don't, I am a CCA intern and a junior at St. Peter's University in Jersey City, New Jersey. I'm majoring in biology, aspiring to become a craniofacial surgeon. I too was born with the facial difference called Golden Hard syndrome that came with a long road of surgeries, therapies, and a lot of rehabilitation. But you guys already know it never stopped me from achieving any of my goals. So today I am joined with Lia Burton. Lia is a set designer and an art director for film and TV. She was born with Pfeiffer syndrome and grew up in Oregon. Throughout her childhood, she watched tons of movies while in the hospital and recovering from surgeries, which inspired her to pursue a career in entertainment industry. She has worked on many shows, including HBO's Insecure and Euphoria and Prince of Peoria. She lives in LA with her furry friend roommate Salami. Welcome, Lia. It is a pleasure to have you on our series. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
thank you for joining and sharing your time with us. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm just good. Just trying to get through college and stuff. How are you? Good?
Good.
Yeah.
Exciting. You're in college.
I know. I know.
Great time in life.
How's LA treating you?
It's good. We are very spoiled here. It is like 70 degrees and sunny.
Not fair. It's freezing. East Coast. It is
I
freezing.
know.
Oh,
I know. I shouldn't have said anything.
how's Salami?
He's great. He's just on the floor staring at me.
Oh, Salami.
Best dog.
What kind of breed is it?
I don't know. I need to get him tested, actually. He's a rescue. So he's just like a mix of a lot of things.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. To start off this interview, would you tell us a little bit about yourself that we don't know?
Well, I think you covered a lot in the intro. I'm a set designer and an art director in LA. Mostly work in TV and some films, and I love my job. I was born with Pfeiffer syndrome, which, like you said in your bio, like it's a lot of surgeries, a lot of just very involved medical childhood.
Yeah.
Um, and I think something that is kind of new for me is I've become a lot more open to talking about that in the last couple of years. Because when I was growing up, the general wisdom is like, just you don't talk about it. Like you try to blend in, you try to be normal, whatever that is, and just like not draw attention to the fact that you're different in any way.
Right.
And it's kind of funny looking back now because it's like I wasn't fooling anyone. Like I was obviously different, but it was just that culture of like, you don't talk about it. And I'm very glad that over time, I think culturally we're coming into this time where it is good to talk about it and it is good to have more awareness around this and representation does matter.
Yeah.
Um, so I've just become a lot more open about talking about all of that. And it's an ongoing struggle.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to have conversations like this because this never used to happen when I was a kid.
No, for real. Like for me, like it was always like blending in, like it was just never talking about it at all, like you said. So to finally to be able to do this is so incredible. It is, yeah, it really is. So my next question for you is what attracted you to choose this career and become a production designer?
Yeah, so I mean, I knew from a young age that I wanted to work in entertainment. Like I was always making little movies and writing stories and stuff. And I went to film school wanting to be a writer director, which I think is what like every film school or film student wants. And then while I was there, you have to take this class where everyone has different roles to make a student film, and you interview for the roles that you want. And the first time I applied, I didn't get selected for any of the student films. I got flat out rejected. So I got bold and I emailed the head professor of the graduate version of that class. And I was like, hey, I want to be in your class. And this was such a like God's timing thing. He was like, oh my God, we need production designers because none of the graduate students want to be production designers. And so he let me in the class. I got to choose whichever movie I wanted to production design. And so I ended up production designing this zombie musical called Zombo. And it was really fun. And the movie actually did really well for a student film. It won a student Emmy. So it got some attention. And so then after that, I became like the person to ask to design like thesis films and stuff. So I just got like, I really threw myself into production design and art department and learning as much as I could and just doing as many student films as I could. So that's kind of how I made that transition into, wanting to do art department more specifically within this industry.
Right. That's so cool. Oh my God. See, I never met a production designer ever before, and it's so
Well, I honestly didn't even know it was a job when I was a kid. And I didn't know the different roles on a film set. I wanted to direct because that was a job I knew. So it was very cool just being in school and like getting to see all those different roles and like kind of realizing that production design really spoke to me more than anything else.
Right. Because I know, like when a movie finished, like they have all the credits and all that stuff. So like, there's so many jobs that we don't even know. Like, it's crazy. So many people work in like one, like to help out. It's crazy. My next question is for you: is how do you create the visual aspects of a production location where you're working at?
So it's an interesting process. So the production designer is the head of the art department, and they're the ones that work directly with the directors and the producers and the writers to establish like the overall look of the show. And so then when it comes to specific sets, I meet with the production designer and like we look at reference photos that they like. They'll doodle like sketches. They'll talk about like what the script requires for the set. And then I get to work on figuring out how to make it like a physical reality. So my job is like part creative and like part engineering, like figuring out how the set is actually going to get built. And the final product of a lot of my work is construction drawings. So basically, like if you've seen architectural blueprints, it's that kind of technical drawing that will result in a set on stage. Or it'll.
Do you have to take like an art class,
Yeah, I mean, I learned very, very basic drafting at school. But a lot of it has been like learned on the job, or when I was an assistant, I would watch the set designers and see what they did. Because drafting is a very specific skill, and there's a lot of programs that you can use, and it's good. And I think this is true for any industry. It's good if you can be as versatile as possible and like be fluent in as many programs as possible. My favorite is Rhino, but I also drafted Vectorworks. I also model in SketchUp and trying to learn all these other programs that are coming out. So it is very, it is, I think, surprisingly technical because people watch stuff and it's like, ooh, it's just creative and pretty. But a lot of it is also just considering, the math and the physics.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. And I realized that I do actually enjoy like engineering problem solving, which is the stuff that you don't really see on the screen. But it's, stuff like we're at this location, we can't attach your drill into any walls, but we want this like big thing to be floating up here. How do we do that? And just like figuring out like how to how to make that happen.
Yeah.
turn it on, and then it shows you measurements. This is a random measurement from my hand to the ceiling. It's so cool.
Yeah. So how did you get your first paid job into film when you were in film?
It was a hustle. So I graduated from college in 2010. So we were deep into a recession at the time, and there just was not a lot shooting in LA.
Right.
So I started out in the independent film world where everything is like, very, very low budget. I think my first job was like $50 a day. And that was not the last time I would work for that cheap. And some jobs pay nothing. So I was kind of just taking whatever work I could get. Um, I production designed a Lifetime movie about a nun that like murders Catholic school kids. It was like it's wild. But so just, any job. And I think finally I met a production designer who did both independent stuff and studio stuff. And so he hired me as an art department assistant on a few movies. So that was really my introduction into like real, studio projects. And that was about like 2 years after I graduated.
Right.
So I kept working as an art department assistant, and then I would still art direct and production design independent movies. I just go back and forth, like whoever will hire me, I'll do whatever. And then finally, a movie that I art directed out in Tennessee and Virginia, it flipped, which means it started independent and then became a union movie. So that's what allowed me to join the Art Directors Guild. And that was in 2016. So it took about 6 years to kind of get any kind of real stability, I would say. And then since then, I've just worked really consistently as a set designer or an art director. And it's been great. But it was definitely a hustle starting out. But also a great learning experience. I learned a lot and I worked with a lot of different people. So I think all of those experiences were valuable.
Yeah, most definitely. Like what I say, like good things take time, Yeah, to like, find the right people to work with and get the right connections, of course, that takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, can you break down the work process of what you do? Like, how if you have like a project, like what is your process? Like, what's the first thing you do, and like to keep going?
Yeah, well, I mean, it starts with the script and also a lot of research. So I think one of the coolest things about my job compared to like doing architecture or something is that it's so different every time, because like architects are always trying to make things look nice
Right.
and real. And we're, sometimes trying to make things look crazy or, whatever. So it's different every time, but it's all in service of the script and the story that they're trying to tell. So usually to start out, I meet with the production designer. And this is after the production designer has already done a lot of their own research and thinking about what they want. And we'll just look like a bunch of photos of, I like this from this picture and I like this thing from this other picture. And they'll like doodle stuff. Some designers are big sketch artists, so I'll get sketches from them. Some of them like to model in SketchUp, and some of them it's like, I don't know, do whatever you want. So it depends on who I'm working for, but it always starts with their vision. And then once I get all of that information, then I try to start engineering it and figuring out like technically how to actually build this thing. Yeah, and it it's a lot of back and forth because TV and film it's very dynamic. So you'll be like designing something or drawing something, and then the schedule changes or the script changes, or like suddenly they need a door somewhere because an actor needs to come through a specific part of the set. So you still have to be very flexible throughout the whole process. And then in the end, I have all these construction drawings that go to construction. They also go to the rest of the crew so that they know what to expect. And then they build it, and it's exciting.
No, yes. But wow, like all that work to go into like making a production line is so cool to me because like it's a lot you have to do and to create like the scenes of like how you want to like visualize it. It's just like you said, like you worked on Insecure and Euphoria, and I watched both of them shows, and the amount of work behind it is incredible. Like the scenes are incredible. So wow.
Thank you.
Yes. And congratulations on being an Emmy-nominated artist. That's crazy. Oh my God, that's amazing. Congratulations. That's huge. So I'm assuming you went to the Emmys.
I did, but it's not the bougie televised Emmys that you're thinking of because they kind of, for the technical awards, they don't broadcast that. Yeah. So the daytime creative arts Emmys, but it was still really fun, still a big red carpet and all that. And we didn't win, but we really weren't expecting to. We were shocked to be nominated, honestly. So it was really fun to be there and just get to experience all that.
Yeah. And what you said, Emmy is an Emmy. It don't matter if it's not bougie or not. Emmy is an Emmy. And the yeah, that is insane. And guys, Lia, as I mentioned before, Lia has worked on some pretty big sets for some amazing films such as Euphoria, Insecure, 13 Reasons Why, and many more. Lia also does designs for commercials and music videos. My question for you is, out of all the sets you worked on, which one was your favorite to work on?
This is a very hard question to answer because I think my favorite thing about the job is just that everything is different, right? Every show, totally different styles, totally different sets. But one of the ones that really stands out to me is I worked on a show called Solos for Amazon, and we made an entire beach on the stage. And so it's a Morgan Freeman episode if anyone wants to watch it. But the whole stage is covered in foam that was sculpted and cut out to look like a beach terrain. And then they piled sand on it and plants and everything. And then we also built this like really funky apartment building. Yeah. It would be in the background. And because it was on the stage, but we wanted to imply that it was, really far out there, it was a quarter scale model of the building. So it was huge, but it was, quarter of the size of what it would be in real life. So it's like a huge dollhouse, basically. So that's in the background. And so that was just a really cool set to work on because it's just so unique.
Right.
So the art director modeled kind of the general terrain that they wanted, and then I had to go through and kind of draw all of these sections so that the sculptors would know how to sculpt each chunk of foam. And then when it's all put together, it makes this, very organic looking terrain. And then, I had to draw the giant dollhouse too. And
I thank you.
It's really cool.
How long did it take you to draw?
I feel like it was maybe a week for the terrain and a week for the building. Oh, I think it's shorter than that. I don't think we had that much time. It was maybe a week and a half for both. Right. Something like that. TV moves fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like fit everything in, juggle what you have to do. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So, and it also, go ahead.
Continue.
I was gonna say another set that is close to my heart because they sent me that photo of me in the Euphoria bathroom. And, that bathroom, it just looks like a bathroom, but it's in my heart because of like how much went into it. Because
Yeah.
that bathroom was designed and redesigned, I think, over 50 times.
Oh.
So specific. And so the actual set, it was a stretched octagon shape. And then we have stalls in the middle. And the reason we did that is so that the camera can do figure eights all over the bathroom. There's a lot of, if you watch the show, there's a lot of tracking shots.
Yes.
And you wouldn't necessarily be aware that it's, figure eights. But you can definitely see a lot of movement in that set. So that was really cool, just that so much went into this set, and it got used a lot on the show. So that was
that show was that's my favorite show. I love that.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Of course, the scenes were like perfectly shot and like it was just perfect. It was just like, oh, just kiss, everything good. Oh my gosh. But what's a typical day like for you in LA or as a production designer?
Well, I'm not usually a production designer. I'm usually a designer or an art director. Someday, I hope I can be a production designer. But a typical day would just be like I go to the lot. So this show is on the Disney lot, which is an amazing commute for me. And then I just go into the office and I share an office with three other people in the art department. And most of my day is on the computer doing these drawings or doing models for presentations or, whatever the show needs. I'll talk to the production designer and the art directors a lot throughout the day. I'll go down to the stages and see like how the sets are going, like the sets that are currently being built. And I'll go down to the mill and talk to the construction guys about what they need. I really love talking construction because especially if there's a set that is going to have a lot of engineering challenges, it's really fun to work with them to figure out like how they want to address all of those challenges, like what materials they're thinking of using. So it's a very collaborative job, and I get to interact with a lot of people. But for the most part, I'm mostly looking at my computer. That's like probably 80% of my day.
Wow. I just find your life so cool. I just see like as a Disney movie. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like she's working in the sets. Like she's doing what she wants to do. I love that.
Thank you. No, I'm very lucky to have a job that I like so.
Yeah, because of hard work and dedication. Yeah, 'cause I know a lot of people aren't even doing what they want to do. Like, they're stuck. So,
Yeah, it's hard.
how do you?
Can you hear Salami? He's like playing very aggressively.
As I hear so long.
I don't know how to make him stop. He's like having a lot of fun.
Is he playing with a toy?
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. When in your work field, has having a facial difference ever affected your work life?
Definitely. But it is very hard to like articulate specifically why. And I don't know if you run into this too, but it's like, we know that there is a lot of discrimination in the world. There's a lot of discrimination specifically within the entertainment industry. So we know it's definitely there. But then, like, specifically, it's like, did I not get this opportunity because of how I look, or because I'm a woman, or because of, something completely different? So it's very hard to, like, specifically identify the ways in which it's affected my work, but I also am very aware that it definitely has. I think even just, looking around my union and like seeing that I'm like the only person with any sort of visible difference or disability shows that like we are very, very behind when it comes to disability inclusion because it's a big field. And so for me to be like one out of 3,000 or however many there are, um, there's definitely like that's definitely still an
Yeah.
issue. And like people I've worked with have, found accidental ways to let me know that they do have those biases. Like I've heard things like, you're so small, but you're so smart. Or like, or someone talking about someone else. I mean, you can't tell on the Zoom, but I'm 4'8". So
Yeah.
another aspect to my condition is just being like I'm normally short.
Yeah.
And someone was talking about someone else. They were like, she's beautiful, but she's short.
About you? About you?
Yeah, about someone else, but it just
Okay.
made it clear that in their minds, like short is not beautiful. And the other person's comments let me know short is not smart.
Right.
And people have made comments about my voice and about, just accidental comments about my face. So I am very aware that people see me differently, but it's hard to know like how that, like what specifically that leads to. I think it's a lot of, just subtle things. And it's frustrating, but I think the other thing that I've learned, especially as I've gotten older, is that um, how I see myself really affects how other people see me. Like I can't control what people see or think, but if I come to the table with a lot of confidence in myself and an expectation that people will respect me and they will see me as smart and competent, they're just much more likely to rise to that occasion
Right.
as opposed to like when I am feeling very insecure, which I do feel that a lot. I do struggle with my self esteem a lot. But when I'm, in it and I show up to spaces with that heaviness,
Yeah.
I feel like it does sort of indirectly affect how people see me because I'm setting such a low
Right.
expectation for them.
Right.
So that's the thing I'm like kind of learning more and more. And that's probably like a lifelong journey. But but it is nice to know that we have just like a little bit of power when it comes to how people see us.
Yeah, yeah, you're totally right. I'm so glad like you're in this industry because like you said, people like us with a disability or deformity is, hard for us to get, jobs like that, and the way, people view us, they see less instead of more. So it is amazing for you to be like, a face for us out there. So thank you for doing your thing. Thank
Thank you.
you. Okay, we're gonna finish this off with my last question. What advice would you give to students interested in pursuing a career in the film of art department?
Well, let's see. I would say like for any creative pursuit, the first thing you should do is just figure out what you're interested in and like do that thing where you are. So wherever you are, whatever phase of life you're in, like whatever resources you have, like just start doing that thing. Like if you want to make movies, like write little movies and shoot them on your phone with your friends. Like when I was a kid, this is how old I am. My family had a recorder that had a full VHS tape in it. So
Yeah.
it's like basically carrying like a VCR on your shoulder.
Mhm.
But I would use that to make these like dumb little movies with my sisters and my neighbors. Um, but I think it's important to like pursue what you want in the time that you're in. To first of all, any experience is, good for you, but also to really figure out what you like and don't like, because any creative pursuit, it requires like so much hustle and so much risk. So you
Mhm.
want to like kind of know what you actually like. Like, you don't want it to be this vague goal of like, I just want to work in Hollywood, or, I want to be famous, or whatever it is. Like, if you can kind of figure out like what is the actual work that you really enjoy, then you can like start, doing that thing and pursuing, working on bigger stuff, or, chasing that goal. Um, if you talk to anybody in this industry about their career path, it will be wildly different person to person. So there's definitely not like a prescription for how to work your way up.
Mhm.
Um, I went to film school, which was really fun. I'm really glad I did that. But I know not everyone can do that. It's really expensive. It's getting more expensive. I was really lucky to get a big scholarship from USC.
Mhm.
And so, like, if that is an option for people, I would say go for it. Like, I learned a lot. I met a lot of really cool people. I still have, a lot of my friends are people that I met in college. But if that's not an option, um, you kind of can like figure out how to get any sort of relevant experience. Like, if you have community theater where you live, or like school productions and stuff, work on those. A lot of those micro budget projects I was talking about right after college, I got those from like Craigslist, which, be careful. There's a lot of creeps out there. But it's also a place to just find those little projects that just need help. And it's an opportunity to meet people and get some experience that way. And I
Right.
say, like, if you're interested in like set design specifically, I would say like study architecture and like learn how to draft.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of people that, go to school for architecture and like learn drafting that way. For me, I just kind of like, when I was an art assistant, I would just ask the set designers a lot of questions and like study their drawings. So that's how I learned, but that's certainly not like a conventional way
Yeah.
to learn. So like I said, like everyone's path is so different. But I think if you do what you love with what you have and where you are, I think that will kind of guide you on that path. Because the other thing too is like when you really love something, you eat it up. Like, you want to learn more, you want to research stuff, you want to talk to people who are doing that thing, and make those connections. So it is a long slog, but if you really love it, like, it it'll happen. It's just a matter of persistence and
Right.
uh, yeah.
Dedication and discipline. Yeah, most definitely. You know, what's it called in college? I already know. Thankfully, I already know what I want to do in my career. So like I've been on it since freshman year of college. Like I've been on it, like trying to get every interview, get in every internship, trying to get like work in the work field. On it. Whenever I tell people, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, Aaliyah, you're so motivated, disciplined. How do you get like that?" I'm like, if you want it, it's gonna happen. You just gotta be motivated and determined. So everything,
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's amazing. Like, you're gonna go so far.
yeah, thank
And
you.
the fact that you're out here doing interviews like this, I never would have done this when I was in college.
What's it called? Like I was kind of nervous at first when Miss Khadija, who's the outreach director, she told me at first, she was like, Aaliyah, like, would you be interested in doing the outreach series? Me, I'm a very shy person, like, kind of, a little bit. So I was like a little iffy, but I'm like, this will help me get out my comfort zone. And my thing I would like to say, like, do things out your comfort zone because it'll help you grow as a person. So this definitely is helping me grow and like, help with my communication skill, public speaking. So anything, I love any opportunity that is given to me, I'll take it. So that's what I'm doing.
That's so awesome.
Thank you. But enough about me. But anyways, um, I have one last question. Have you met any like famous celebrities on set?
Yeah, I mean, I don't go to set that often when they're shooting because I'm not part of the shooting crew. Like all of my work is happening ahead of time. But definitely I've like met a lot of the actors. On Insecure, I met Issa a few times and like she's amazing. I remember the first set at the season 4 wrap party, she gave me a hug and I was like, Issa gave me a hug.
Oh my God.
So I've had interactions with her, but like we're not BFFs or anything. But I met her. I don't know. I've met quite a few of like just
Yeah.
people in passing.
Oh,
Uh, but she was a really exciting one, especially because like I was a big fan of the show before I worked on it. So I'd watch seasons 1 through 3 as a fan, and then I got to work on seasons 4 and 5. So it meant a lot to be part of that show.
oh, I know you were excited. Oh my God, that's so amazing. Oh wow. And she's so funny, Lisa. Like she is the comedian from Insecure. I love her. Um, okay, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, Leah. And it has been such a pleasure chatting with you today. If our audience wants to know anything or wants to learn more about you, where can they follow you on social media?
See, on Instagram, my handle is Burton Leah. So it's just my last name, first name. Um, I guess you can search me on Facebook if you want, Lia Burton. And my website is leahburton.com.
Yes, guys, go check out her website. Her website is so cool. You'll see the films and all the production she did and all the art design and architect. It was so cool. So we appreciate you sharing your time with us, and I look forward to chatting with you again in the future, Leah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. This is so fun.
Thank you. See you later, guys.
Bye.